Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. Hope you guys are doing well on this Monday. All right, as I mentioned, there is a metric out there that says the BYU Cougars were the best team in the Big 12 this past season. And yes, that includes the vaunted Arizona State Sun Devils. Yes. I know that they're going to be ASU Sun Devil fans. They're going to be hopping all over my mention saying, how dare you denigrate ASU? You know what? Argue with a wall, because this is metrics that I believe in these metrics, because now obviously favors BYU. It's pretty easy for me to say, but this is a guy that I really think has his head on straight when it comes to his analytics. And that's Bill Connelly from ESPN. He has what he calls his SP plus rankings. And what they are is they are an analytical breakdown of college football teams that in theory, SP plus is supposed to help you kind of determine what if it was a neutral site, so let's say it's a bowl game, that type of scenario. If you have the SP plus numbers for two teams, you should be able to put them on a neutral field together, and the difference between the two in the SP plus ranking should give you the theoretical spread between those two teams. Okay, that's interesting because it takes into account all the different things out there, yardage, history. Bill's been working at this for a good decade plus, trying to refine this analytical tool that he's got. But according to his SP plus rankings, BYU is the highest ranked Big 12 team with the season coming to an end. He has BYU at number 17 nationally. Okay, so where are the Sun Devils? Well, the Sun Devils actually, crazily enough, finish fourth. Yes, you heard me right. Fourth. BYU is 17th nationally. Kansas State, BYU's one of the most triumphal wins of the season. Kansas State Wildcats are 19th. TCU, of all teams, number 3 at 26th, and Arizona State checks in at number 31. Iowa State, who was the other runner-up in the Big 12, is 35th in 5th place. And then you're probably wondering, okay, Jake, well, where's Utah? They're right in the middle at number 8 in these rankings. Now, he breaks it down even further in the SP Plus, and I got to give a big shout out to Casey Lundquist for doing a lot of the legwork on this. I went through and was looking at this, and he made it a lot easier on me over at Cougs Daily. You can check out his work. He does a really fine job covering all things BYU. But he also went through the SP Plus rankings for offense, defense, and special teams. Now, we talk a lot about how BYU really was a complementary team. Offense setting up the defense and vice versa. Defense setting up the offense. Special teams helping out in its own right as well. Where did BYU check in offensively? Well, he checked in middle of the pack in the Big 12, 38th, just behind Kansas at 37th. TCU actually was the highest ranked team in SP plus offense at 19th. Baylor 25th, Colorado 26th were the top three in that. So BYU 38th in their offensive ranking. So if they're going to finish first in the conference, you got to imagine defense and special teams are going to make up for that. And that's exactly what happened. BYU finished second in SP plus defense at 21st nationally. Crazily enough, you want to talk about a disparity? Utah, number 1 in SP plus for the Big 12 at number 18 nationally. Why did Utah finish in the middle of the pack with regards to where they finished in the SP plus rankings? Because Utah's offense was kind of flipped from their defense. 15th out of 16 teams. Only Houston, who had an awful offense, was worse than Utah at 99th in SP plus offense. And then, so BYU finishes second in SP plus defense, obviously setting up their offense in good situations. And then finally, special teams rankings. BYU, the clear number 1, number 4 nationally. They were number 1 in the Big 12 by a full 6 spots. Arizona 10th in the nation. West Virginia 12th. So a lot of this matches up with what a lot of us saw from this BYU team, that yes, it was very much a complementary team. BYU's offense, middle of the pack overall, but when it was set up in good field position and was given opportunities by the the defense and the special teams, yeah, they cashed in. And I know that there are a lot of y'all out there who want to say, well, BYU's offense is always going to be held back by Jake Retzloff, and they just can't put together a drive when it matters. Okay, you can argue that all you want, but this is a game, speaking of football, that really all you can control is taking advantage of the opportunities given to you. Yes, there are going to be seasons where BYU is going to be forced to drive 80 yards the length of the field for touchdowns. Other years like this past year for BYU, when you lead the country in interceptions, guess what? You're going to set up your offense in really, really fine field position. And the good news is BYU's offense was good enough to cash in the vast majority of those. Now, could they have cashed in a few more against the likes of Kansas and Arizona State? Maybe so. But the bigger point to be made here is SP Plus believes that BYU was the best team in this league. That's crazy to consider because, trust me, some of the belly aching I heard all season long about BYU, even amidst the historic 9-0 start and 11-2 season against what I consider to be the toughest competition top to bottom in BYU football history, would have you thinking BYU is a middle of the pack, a Big 12 team. Now, as I mentioned, SP Plus it's an analytical tool, so it's supposed to essentially be able to help you gauge where teams are relative to one another. That's got BYU pretty clearly as top dog in the conference. Now, had they beaten Kansas and had they beaten Arizona State, BYU would have been given that opportunity to really be the top dog in the conference. And that's a missed opportunity. There's zero doubt about that. I can't argue that point with you. But the analytics say that BYU, they're a pretty doggone good football team. And the nice part is a whole lot of those pieces come back. So maybe, just maybe next year, if BYU plays similarly and maybe has an even more juiced up offense, maybe BYU actually can go out there and prove it that they are top dog in the conference. I, for one, would love to see that go down because I love covering winning football teams. I can tell you the disparity between a 5-7 team over here and the interest in BYU football versus an 11-2 team a year later, there is no comparison. The 11-2 team, all of the excitement, all of the storylines surrounding BYU, notwithstanding the fact that they were kind of thrown out with the bathwater type analogy when it came to a lot of the thoughts of what BYU really was. This is a BYU team that was a really, really good football team. And I get that we're spoiled, speaking generally across the board, about BYU offenses of yesteryear, where the offense was the storyline. This was a year that the BYU defense, even the special teams, took a lot of the accolades for BYU's success. But there were times BYU's offense stepped to the plate. Remember, Baylor mounted a furious comeback. BYU's defense was in tatters that game, and BYU's offense rose to the occasion and helped them win that football game. Oklahoma State, they couldn't slow down Ollie Gordon and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. BYU's offense just simply said, okay, we'll go out and outscore this team. I loved the fact that the BYU football program was as complimentary as it was. And Kalani has talked about this for years now. He talks all the time, and it's one of his oft-used phrases. I want to see complimentary football. And what he means by that is he wants to see his offense helping out the defense. He wants to see defense setting up the offense in good spots. He wants to see the special teams be a weapon like it hasn't been for many, many years until this season. BYU had all the pieces of a really good football team come together this year, and it's unfortunate. One loss here or there cost an opportunity to really go out there and live a dream season, a generational, like an incredible season was there for the taking for BYU, and they came up short. Like I said, I cannot argue that point with you, but the analytics say that this BYU team, according to SP Plus, best in the Big 12. So take that to the bank, and I know some people raise the banner. We're not going to raise a banner for that, but just consider the fact that BYU, pretty doggone good football team. We were lucky to watch them do their thing this season. That's all I'm going to say on that point.